For 25 years after the tragic death of John Denver, Annie Martell Denver said almost nothing about the private world they once shared. Fans clung to the image of the gentle troubadour who sang about country roads and mountain highs, and many wondered why the woman immortalized in Annie's song remained so quiet. Then, in October 2022, Annie finally sat down for a candid podcast interview and gently, but firmly, shifted the story the public thought it knew. She spoke of painful fights, of affairs that trailed behind the fame, of nights shaped by alcohol and anger, and of the shocking moment during their divorce when he cut their bed in half with a chainsaw. The fairy tale people imagined had been far more fragile behind closed doors. Annie Martell was born on September 6, 1946, in the small farming town of Nicollet, Minnesota, a place where faith, family dinners, and hard work weren't special occasions but daily rituals. She grew up steady, observant, and quietly strong, the peacemaker among her siblings. There were no flashing signs that she would one day become the muse behind one of the most famous love songs of the 1970s. She attended Gustavus Adolphus College, studying art education and living a modest campus life, until 1966, when a young folk singer performing with the Chad Mitchell Trio noticed her in the audience. That singer, still known then as Henry John Duchendorf Jr., would soon become John Denver. Letters followed. So did love. By 1967, they were married and beginning a new life together in Aspen, Colorado. For their early years in Aspen were humble. Before platinum records and sold-out arenas, there were bills to manage and dreams to chase. Annie built a home while John built a career. When Rocky Mountain High, and later Annie's song, soared up the charts, the world saw romance. They imagined a perfect muse and a perfect marriage. What Annie revealed decades later was far more human. Annie's song, she explained, wasn't born from a blissful fairy tale moment. It came after a serious argument. John rode a ski lift on Aspen Mountain, overwhelmed with emotion, and in minutes the melody poured out of him. It was, she said, a plea, a bridge, a way of reaching back toward her after conflict. The song became a wedding anthem for millions, but for Annie, it always carried the memory of struggle as much as love. As fame expanded, so did the distance between them. Long tours, constant travel, and groupies became part of John's world. Annie remained in Colorado, raising their adopted children, Zachary and Anna Kate, and trying to protect a sense of normalcy. Over time, rumors of infidelity proved true. Alcohol worsened tensions. Arguments intensified. In her 2022 interview, Annie described moments that contradicted the gentle public image: shouting, shattered glass, and the infamous chainsaw incident during their divorce. When she confirmed that he had cut their bed in half in a fit of rage, it stunned many listeners. It wasn't shared to destroy his legacy, she said, but to tell the truth she had carried alone for decades. They divorced in 1982 after 15 years of marriage. When John died in a plane crash in 1997, Annie again chose restraint over spectacle. She focused on their children and allowed the world to grieve the artist they loved. Only much later, when enough time had passed and her children were grown, did she feel strong enough to speak openly. Her silence, she explained, had never been about pretending everything was perfect. It was about protecting her family and healing privately. Today, Annie lives quietly in Aspen, close to her children and grandchildren. She does not deny the beauty of the music John created. She acknowledges that his songs comforted millions. But she also reminds us that behind every legend is a complicated human being, and often, someone standing just outside the spotlight, carrying a very different story. In finally speaking, Annie Martell Denver reclaimed her own identity, no longer just a woman in a love song, but a woman who survived fame, heartbreak, and silence, and chose, in her own time, to tell the truth.